Hey everyone, welcome back to Preppers Community. If you think bugging in is just about locking your doors, sitting tight and waiting for the chaos to pass, you're making a deadly mistake. Because when SHTF for real, it's not just about having supplies, it's about making the right decisions at the right time. One mistake, just one, could cost you everything. Your stockpile? Gone. Your security? Compromised. Your survival? At risk. And here's the scariest part. Most people won't even realize they've failed until it's too late. Today we're diving into 12 critical mistakes that can turn your safe haven into a death trap. Mistakes that could put you and your family in serious danger. But don't worry, because I'm going to show you exactly how to avoid them and fortify your survival strategy before it's too late. Let's get started. 12. Stockpiling but not rotating supplies. You know what's worse than not prepping at all? Thinking you're fully prepared, only to realize, when it matters most, that your food is rancid, your water is contaminated, and your medicine is useless. Imagine the panic of opening your carefully stocked pantry during an emergency, only to find spoiled food, rock-hard rice, or bloated cans ready to explode with bacteria. It's not just an inconvenience, it's a direct threat to your survival. Most people make this critical mistake because they assume that if something is sealed and stored, it's good indefinitely. Wrong! Oils go rancid, canned goods lose nutrients, and stored water absorbs toxins if not maintained properly. Even worse, medications expire, meaning that life-saving antibiotics or painkillers could become completely ineffective just when you need them most. The fix? Treat your stockpile like a living system, not a museum exhibit. Follow the FIFO rule, first in, first out. Every few months, check expiration dates, rotate supplies, and consume the oldest items first. Set reminders, label everything, and create a tracking system that ensures your survival food isn't just there. It's actually usable when disaster strikes. Because in a real SHTF scenario, bad food isn't just waste, it's a death sentence. 11. Relying too much on electricity. If you're counting on solar panels, generators, or battery backups to keep your home running when the grid goes down, think again. Electricity is a luxury, not a guarantee, in a true SHTF scenario. EMP events, cyber attacks, extreme weather, or even fuel shortages can turn your high-tech survival setup into a useless pile of junk. And let's talk about EMP attacks. A single electromagnetic pulse could fry unprotected solar systems, modern generators, and even backup batteries. If you haven't hardened your electrical gear, you could wake up one day in total blackout mode, with zero backup. The solution? Go low-tech. Relying purely on electricity is a death trap. Instead, invest in wood stoves for heating and cooking, kerosene lamps for light, hand-crank radios for communication, and gravity-fed water filters so you're not dependent on a power source that may never come back. The goal isn't just surviving without power, it's making sure that when the lights go out, your survival plan doesn't go out with them. 10. Ignoring security vulnerabilities. Your home is not a fortress unless you turn it into one. Most people assume their house is naturally secure, but when SHTF, every weakness becomes an open invitation to looters, desperate neighbors, and organized gangs. Weak doors, flimsy locks, and exposed windows might seem fine in normal times, but in a real crisis, they turn you into an easy target. And it's not just about physical access. Visual and sound discipline matter just as much. If you're the only house with lights on, smoke rising from your chimney, or the hum of a generator in the dead of night, you're painting a target on your back for anyone looking for supplies. The fix? Harden your home like your life depends on it, because it does. Reinforce doors with steel core upgrades and heavy-duty locks. Secure windows with impact-resistant film and cover them with blackout curtains to keep light from escaping. Install motion-detecting solar lights outside, not to make your home look occupied, but to expose anyone sneaking around your property. And if you're using a generator, muffle the sound with a noise-reducing enclosure and position it away from sight to avoid unwanted attention. In a collapse scenario, security isn't just about locks. It's about making your home look like more trouble than it's worth. 9. Telling people about your preps. Loose lips don't just sink ships, they put a target on your back. In a true SHTF scenario, desperation turns ordinary people into threats. And if word gets out that you're the one with a full pantry, clean water, and medical supplies, you won't just have visitors, you'll have raiders. And here's the harsh truth. It doesn't matter if it's your friendly neighbor, your cousin, or even a longtime friend. When people are starving and desperate, survival rewrites relationships. The person you trusted today might be the one banging on your door tomorrow, demanding a share of what you worked so hard to prepare. The fix? Silence is security. Your best bet is to keep your preps completely under the radar. Never brag, never hint, and never let curiosity lead to exposure. If you must talk about prepping, keep it vague and impersonal. Talk about general preparedness, local disasters, or common sense emergency planning, but never reveal the extent of your stockpile or where you keep it. In a crisis, the fewer people who know what you have, the safer you and your family will be. 8. Not having a plan for human waste. When the grid goes down, sanitation isn't just an inconvenience. It's a survival necessity. Most people obsess over food and water, but completely ignore what happens after. Without a working sewage system, waste doesn't just disappear. It piles up, contaminates your living space, and invites disease to spread like wildfire. If you keep flushing toilets without running water, you're filling your pipes with filth, and sooner or later, raw sewage will back up into your home. And in a crisis, that's not just disgusting. It's a breeding ground for deadly infections that could take you out faster than starvation. The fix? You need a human waste management plan before it's too late. A composting toilet is a great off-grid solution, breaking down waste naturally without relying on plumbing. If that's not an option, set up a makeshift latrine away from your shelter to prevent contamination. For those in tight spaces or urban areas, a 5-gallon bucket lined with heavy-duty trash bags, cat litter, and a secure lid can act as an emergency toilet. The key is containment and disposal, because in a world without running water, poor sanitation is a death sentence. 7. Not having enough clean water. You can last weeks without food, but without water, you'll be dead in 3 days. And if you think your tap water will keep flowing in an SHTF scenario, think again. Municipal systems fail, pipes burst, and water treatment plants shut down, leaving you with nothing but an empty faucet and a growing sense of panic. Without a reliable way to store, purify, and collect water, you're already on borrowed time. The fix? Water is life. Treat it like it. Stockpile a minimum of 1 gallon per person per day, but that's just the start. If you're only relying on stored water, you're making a fatal mistake. You need multiple layers of redundancy. Gravity-fed water filters, rain catchment systems, portable water purifiers, and backup purification methods like boiling, distillation, or bleach treatment. Identify natural water sources nearby and make sure you have the tools to safely process and transport it. Because in a long-term crisis, having food means nothing if you don't have clean water to wash it down. 6. Overlooking mental preparedness. Survival isn't just about what you have, it's about what's in your head. You can have a fully stocked bunker, the best gear, and years of food, but if you crack under pressure, none of it will matter. When SHTF, panic is the real killer. Indecision, fear, and mental exhaustion will make you hesitate at the worst possible moment. And in a survival situation, hesitation gets people killed. The fix? Train your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Start practicing situational awareness so you can detect threats before they escalate. Run mental drills and simulate high-stress scenarios so your brain learns to make quick, decisive choices under pressure. Work on stress management techniques like controlled breathing, visualization, and mental resilience training. The more prepared you are mentally, the better you'll handle the chaos, fear, and split-second decisions that determine who makes it out alive and who doesn't. 5. Failing to have a bug-out backup plan. Bugging in might be plan A, but what if staying put becomes a death trap? Too many preppers make the mistake of assuming their home will always be safe, but reality doesn't work that way. Fires, armed mobs, chemical spills, natural disasters, any one of these can force you to evacuate in an instant. And if you don't have a solid bug-out plan, you'll be no better off than the unprepared masses desperately scrambling for a way out. The fix? Never put all your survival bets on one location. Have a secondary retreat that's fully stocked and ready to go. Keep a grab-and-go bag packed with essential gear, food, water, medical supplies, self-defense tools, and vital documents. And most importantly, plan at least 3 separate escape routes, avoiding main roads and potential danger zones. In a true SHTF event, survival belongs to those who can adapt fast and move smart. Because if you're caught off guard, you may never get a second chance. 4. Not having a defense strategy. If you think, it won't happen to me, you're already a statistic waiting to happen. In any collapse scenario, crime doesn't just rise, it explodes. When law enforcement is overwhelmed or non-existent, the strong prey on the weak, and the desperate do whatever it takes to survive. Your home isn't just a shelter. In an SHTF event, it's a target. And if you don't have a defense plan, someone else will make the decisions for you. The fix? Be prepared to protect what's yours. Legally arm yourself and train until it's second nature. A gun isn't a magic wand, it's useless if you don't know how to use it under pressure. Set up layered perimeter defenses, barriers, motion-detecting solar lights, reinforced doors, and security cameras. Run home defense drills with your family so everyone knows their role if intruders come knocking. The reality is simple. If you don't have a plan to defend your home, you don't have a plan to survive. 3. Cooking with strong odors. In a real SHTF scenario, the smell of food isn't just a comforting sign of survival. It's an open invitation for trouble. Hunger makes people desperate, and in a world where food is scarce, the scent of frying meat or fresh bread can travel for miles, attracting exactly the kind of attention you don't want. If you're out there frying bacon, grilling meat, or roasting anything aromatic, don't be surprised when unexpected guests show up. And they won't be coming to share a meal. The fix? Go stealth with your cooking. Cook indoors whenever possible. Boil instead of frying, and use airtight stoves to limit scent dispersion. If you must cook outside, do it early in the morning or late at night when fewer people are awake to notice. Stick to low-odor foods like rice, beans, or dehydrated meals, and avoid anything that releases strong, lingering smells. In an SHTF world, staying fed is critical, but staying unnoticed is just as important. 2. Wasting resources early on. When disaster strikes, most people panic and burn through their supplies like there's no tomorrow. Because for them, there might not be. They eat full meals like they're on vacation, keep lights running all night, waste precious fuel for unnecessary tasks, and use medical supplies without thinking ahead. And before they know it, the first few weeks have passed. Their stockpile is dangerously low, and the crisis? It's nowhere near over. In an SHTF scenario, survival isn't just about what you have. It's about how long you can make it last. Those who fail to control consumption from day one will find themselves desperate, weak, and vulnerable long before the true danger has passed. The fix? Discipline is survival. From the moment a crisis begins, shift into conservation mode. Treat every calorie, every gallon of water, every ounce of fuel like it's the last one you'll ever have. Ration food wisely, not for comfort, but for sustained energy. Cut down on electricity use and preserve fuel only for absolute necessities. Rotate lighting options, using solar, candles, or battery-powered lanterns instead of draining valuable generators. When it comes to medical supplies, prioritize their use for actual emergencies, not minor cuts or discomfort. Remember, in a true long-term collapse, those who pace themselves and stretch every resource will outlast those who act like it's just another temporary inconvenience. Survival is a marathon, not a sprint. 1. Thinking you're ready. When you're not, the biggest mistake preppers make? Believing they're ready when they're not. It's easy to feel confident when your shelves are stocked, your gear is in place, and your bug-in plan looks solid on paper. But when SHTF for real, supplies mean nothing if you don't know how to use them under pressure. Too many people assume that just owning survival gear is enough. But in reality, a water filter won't save you if you don't know how to use it. A generator is useless if you've never maintained it. And stockpiling food is pointless if you haven't tested your cooking setup. The harsh truth? Most people don't fail because they don't prepare. They fail because they never put their preps to the test. The fix? Train like your life depends on it, because one day it might. Run blackout drills in your home to see how you function without electricity. Try going a full weekend using only your survival supplies and see what you're missing. Purify water from a natural source and make sure you understand the process before it's your only option. Simulate real emergencies and force yourself to think and act under stress. The only way to know if you're truly prepared is to test yourself before reality does. Because when the time comes, you won't rise to the occasion. You'll fall back on your training. That's it for today. Survival isn't about luck. It's about preparation, discipline, and the ability to adapt. If you've made any of these mistakes, now is the time to fix them. Because when SHTF, there are no second chances. Stay safe, stay prepared, and I'll catch you in the next one.